Hey team, welcome back to the Wilson Combat Channel, where we all hope you'll subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can be among the first to know when we have new content up. My name is Ayoob. I'm one of the many providers here, and I've been asked today to talk to you about situational awareness. In personal safety, it's an overriding concept that seems so obvious, people ignore it. We get into our daily routines, we get into our car, and it's like being in our living room, complete with entertainment center and the soft, warm place to sit. And we kind of go autopilot, and that tends to get people in trouble. Now, the element of awareness, alertness, knowing what's going on around you is nothing new. In modern times, it really goes back to the work of Pierce Brooks at LAPD, teaching officer survival, where he told officers one of the deadly sins was being somewhere and when you need help, not being able to tell dispatch where you are and where to send the cavalry. Goes back also during that period to someone we often invoke here, Colonel Jeff Cooper, World War II era combat Marine. Cooper defined a four-color set of color codes for awareness, alertness, and preparedness. And it went like this. Condition white was the absence of alertness. Maybe you were asleep, maybe you were reading a book and absorbed in it, whatever. As our contemporary today, one of the great instructors, Tom Gibbons, says, your head is in your app, and something comes up behind you and nails you. Now, you can be carrying the best pistol in the world, but if your head is in your app and the attacker comes up behind you, pretty soon your best pistol in the world is going to be his best pistol that he's stolen yet. Next up, condition yellow. Colonel Cooper defined condition yellow as relaxed alertness. You're not ducking around corners like this with a search mirror, but if anybody asked you who is within 10 feet of you, you could tell them without looking around and checking. If someone asked, where are you? You could tell them without saying, hey Siri, where am I? Next up was condition orange. Condition orange was, for want of a better term, unspecified alert. You know something is wrong, but you don't know exactly what it is. You've heard the bump in the night that woke you up in bed, something of that nature. At this point, you are focused totally on sensory input, gathering intelligence by ear, by eye, who might be where are lanes of access and lanes of egress. You may or may not have your gun out, depending on the circumstances, but you're prepared to control those lanes of access and egress at the point of a drawn gun if necessary. Next up, Colonel Cooper called condition red. Condition red, the threat is present. And he said at that point, the gun is out, you're ready to fight, and the situation will determine whether or not you pull the trigger. Many of us, myself included, have found over the years that it works best with a 5-color code. And what we did with that, Colonel Cooper's condition red, the threat is identified, is defined between the threat that you might take at gunpoint and the situation so grave that you actually have to pull the trigger. So condition red, the way I teach it, would be the situation where you're facing a recognized deadly threat or potentially deadly threat, and you take it at gunpoint. A preponderance of evidence, if you will, has told you this is serious, this is deadly danger, it needs to be controlled. Once the trigger pulling starts, I would respectfully submit you're now in condition black. Okay, a lethal assault in progress that can only at this point be dealt with by responding with countervailing deadly force. Now, the reason for that breakup, we're not in World War II in the Pacific Theater anymore. We're dealing with other American citizens, and the death of a criminal is not seen as good guys one, bad guys nothing. It's seen as the death of a citizen, and it's investigated as such, and today tends to come under more scrutiny than ever. If the other side can trick us into saying, well, shooting him and taking him at gunpoint is all the same, that makes us look pretty darn bloodthirsty and cold-blooded. I want my students to be able to articulate they knew the difference between a situation where they could capture a gunman or other violent criminal at gunpoint and make a citizen's arrest if necessary, or cause him to flee, versus a situation where they had no choice but to unleash deadly force. Now, all this goes back to being able to recognize where the threat is. It goes back to the simple common sense of what our colleague John Farnham, one of the great instructors, called the three stupids. Don't go stupid places with stupid people and do stupid things. Folks generally tell you if you're out partying at 3 in the morning in public, good things seldom happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know, as I go back to my younger days, there were some pretty fun times at 3 a.m., but I digress. Bottom line is, ask yourself, what are the pros and cons of going to this thing? What risks am I taking? What risks might I be putting my companions into? When we go back to just daily life, let's analyze that condition yellow. People who haven't thought about self-defense think, oh my God, you guys are paranoid. You're always looking for bad guys. The thing of it is, you become a people watcher. Now, I've been teaching this since 1972 to police, since 1981 to armed citizens. Colonel Cooper said that the well-adjusted person should be able to spend their entire waking life in condition yellow with no adverse psychological effects. I found out it might even be better than that. I've had a lot of my students come back to me and tell me, look, I took your class 10 years ago. I took you seriously with Colonel Cooper's color codes and when you told us to have the sensory net going and be monitoring the radar all the time. And you know what? I haven't been attacked by a bad guy yet. I haven't found a bad guy yet. But I found out I've become a people watcher. I'm seeing good things that I was missing before. And I'm seeing the way the elderly couple that's been married forever looks at each other as they walk down the street hand in hand. The way the young newlyweds look at each other. I watched the kid playing with his puppy. And thank you for that, because I was missing it before. I think what it is, people are always telling us we're supposed to stop and smell the roses. I think the allegory is when you're down on your hands and knees in the rose bush looking for thorns, you can't help but smell the roses. Basically, common sense applies. We have another video that's already had a couple million views of why it's unwise to answer the door at 3 o'clock in the morning. Common sense, but plan ahead. We need to be thinking these things out. It's not wise to be 3 o'clock in the morning pumping gas in an inner city filling station. I've had to be there when on certain long trips I had to drive through the night. And on one memorable occasion, there was no room at the inn, so I just kept driving. But even if I'm in a suburban neighborhood, when I'm gassing up, I keep the head up, I have my back to the car, the gas pump is in this hand, and I'm scanning here, and this hand is in the left side pocket, already on a pistol if necessary. It shows no threat to anyone, but I will see danger coming before it gets too close for me to handle. If the panhandler comes up, you see him on time and say, sorry, sir, I can't help you today, and indicate that that distance does not need to be closed. Basically, it's about common sense. It doesn't mean you're going to get attacked every minute at the gas pump, but it also means you'll see what's going on around you. It doesn't impair quality of life. What it does is allow you, if the day comes when you are, or your family are, in deadly danger, you're going to be able to preserve that quality of life and life itself. Situational awareness. Make it part of your life. Tell the people you love that even if they don't carry guns, they're going to get that people watcher effect that will make their life better, and they'll see danger coming in time to hopefully escape it. Thanks for listening. We'll look forward to seeing you down the road at other Wilson Combat channels. Other Wilson Combat channels.